So when did we return to London? So we had Boaz in April the 26th.
2020.
And
we returned, was it in July?
Early July. It was the first week of July 2020. Yeah. We came back to London. Well, when we arrived back in the UK, the UK was still in a lockdown. So we had a bit of time coming out of that. And to be honest, he was only 2 months old at the time, so he occupied us, and the UK had a bit of a sort of bumpy road coming out of lockdowns and going back into lockdowns. But recently, in the last year, in 2021, especially at the end with Omicron, it felt like everyone has had the virus again. So we've just had the virus again just before Christmas. So we did 10 days of isolation with him, and this time round, it felt like everyone, all our colleagues and friends, everyone we knew, everyone at our church has had Omicron again recently. We got out of isolation 3 days before Christmas. So in some ways, it was perfect timing for us, because many people in London were avoiding getting the virus, so they didn't have to cancel plans for Christmas Day.
I think we were probably, well, I don't know if I think we were probably more relaxed about it because we've had it before. I mean, even when we both had it the first time around, thankfully we didn't get it too badly. You know, we didn't have very bad symptoms. So we weren't too worried about it. And from what we'd read about children getting it, it didn't seem like there was a cause for concern. So we weren't too worried about Boaz getting it either. I think we were quite relaxed.
What has the first year and a half of parenting been like for us, especially during a pandemic? To be honest, it's been a huge blessing in many ways, because when Boaz was born, I was able to be furloughed from my work. So I got 4 months of full pay to be with Natasha and our newborn son. And normally that would have only been 2 weeks. So that was a huge blessing. And of course, all the lockdowns over time meant that we could spend a lot more time with each other. In some ways, really nice being able to spend so much time getting used to parenting and being together as a family of 3.
I think for lots of new mums, including myself, it's been quite difficult in some ways, because being a mum can be quite lonely and isolating. It's quite a big change, especially if it's your first time. You know, when your husband goes to work, it's kind of you and the baby when you're on maternity leave. And in London, we don't have much help, so, and lots of the things that you would usually go to fill the time during the day, like baby groups or classes or just meeting other mums in coffee shops, we couldn't do lots of those things because of the lockdowns, and lots of these classes were cancelled. So I think that's been quite tricky. But since going back to work and Boaz being in nursery, I think we found a nice balance, and it's been nice now in London because there haven't been that many restrictions, so we've been able to see friends and do normal things.
Another thing that I think was quite tricky is that Boaz's first year, he, because of the lockdowns there, he was always with Natasha and I. And because you were limited of who you could socialize with, it meant he didn't have a much or any exposure to young babies himself. So going to nursery school was a big step, because suddenly he had to interact with other people who weren't us. He wasn't locked in a flat with just the 2 of us, but the other people he wasn't familiar with, and other children he didn't know as well. So it took him a while getting used to socializing with his peers, but now he seems quite confident at it.
Yeah.
So you can probably hear him in the background. He's playing with the Christmas tree.
I really miss Singapore. All my family's in Singapore, and lots of my good friends are still in Singapore. And so, yeah, we I miss Singapore. I think about it every day, and we both really miss the food as well.
Yeah, I was going to say it's friends, family, and food that we miss from Singapore. I'm a big fan of the hot weather as well, so I miss that. But when you first asked, what do we miss about Singapore? Loads of images of our favourite food appeared in my head. So the beef hor fun, the char siu, the chicken rice. I could go on.
When we go back to Singapore,
so
we'd love to see
we had planned to go to Singapore in the summer of 2020, so in August, 2021, sorry, and we had planned a visit to see his doctor, Professor Zubair. And unfortunately, because we didn't want to do 3 weeks quarantine with a toddler who was walking, we delayed it. So we're hoping to come to Singapore for Chinese New Year in 2022, which we're looking forward to. You say bye-bye?
Bye-bye.
Boaz, do you want to blow a kiss? Do you want to blow a kiss?